those girlies. Hello. You gonna come up here? You gonna come up? Yeah, girly up here. Coming up for a cuddle. Coming up for a cuddle. Coming up, girlies. Yeah, girlies. How you doing? How have you been? What have you been up to? Anything exciting? Anything exciting? We're back! So we are back up the allotment, none of that traipsing around on ferries and trains and buses and everything else. We are solidly back at the allotment. It's lovely to see the girls. They are, well, they look exactly the same to be honest, although they look just a little bit smaller having seen Graham's mum's chickens in Antrim. God, they were big. They're shouting because I haven't given them any leaves yet, so they know it's imminent, so that's what all the shouting's about. Okay, so it is really nippy today, and so we're probably not going to be up here that long, but what I have got to do is, before I went away, I had loads of stuff that needed to be planted out into the covered bed. You know, we covered the bed. Sorry about the screaming. It's like the end of the day at the school and all the kids are like coming out, and there's just something about teenagers. Like, you reach a point in your life where you just don't need to scream randomly anymore, and they haven't reached that point yet. So there's a lot of screaming. Yes, we've got loads of things that need to go into a mixture of the covered bed and the into the polytunnel and all that sort of stuff. It's sort of starting to look a bit like it's struggling in the little pots because I should have got it out a while ago. Yes, things to do. It's chilly, so I think action stations is the answer to keep warm. Change of plan. Just thought about it. It's really cold today, like I just said, and tomorrow morning we've got sun and it's meant to be quite warm. So tonight's going to be really cold, and then tomorrow morning is going to be warm. And I don't really want to go opening up the polytunnel and the covered bed now when they've got no chance of retaining any heat for the cold night. So I'm going to scrap that. That's going to be tomorrow morning's plan. And what I'm going to do instead is, we've got a load of pumpkins. So the butternut squash, you remember that my butternut squash were only about this big when they should have been kind of being able to be picked. Well, they've actually got to quite a size, I'll show you. But I'm going to leave them alone for the time being. It's a bit risky, but I'm going to leave them alone. But the other two, so the ridiculously tiny, what were they? Were they Marina de Chioggia? That are meant to be like this big are only about this big. I'm going to pick them because the vines are completely dead. Same with the crown prince. So we've got 2 Marina de Chioggia and 3 crown prince to pick. Yeah, right, okay. That's the first thing on the list then. Come on, let's go and pick some pumpkins. You can see how much it's changed in a week. All these winter squash are just completely collapsed. So this is the Marina de Chioggia that should be massive and is quite clearly not massive, but it is gorgeous. Look at that bum. Beauty. And then there's a little tiny one on the floor over there, so I'll take both of those. You can see the plant itself is completely gone. Butternut squash on the other hand, the plant's still sort of doing something, and these, look how much they've grown. It's amazing. So this one's pretty much ready. It's just starting to yellow up. I've got confidence in that one. This one, maybe. This guy down here is the biggest of them. They're still really green, so I'm not sure. And then there's one other in the corner. But I'm going to leave them for the time being and just cross my fingers, basically. Right, let's start with the crown prince.
one's at home.
Happy?
Very happy. I'm fogging up, it's so cold.
So not a massive haul for the year, but I'm not unhappy about it, and it could have been way worse. I mean, we've got a good selection. It's going to keep us going for the winter, no problem, at least until we've got the summer squash coming next year, I'm sure of it. We've got quite a few at home curing, so obviously I've got the Crown Prince from today and the Marina de Chioggia. At home we have got mashed potato squash and one called Sunshine, which is a small orange one. So I think, all in all, not a disaster. Actually, both the Sunshine and the mashed potato squash I hadn't really planned on growing. The Sunshine one came when I ordered the Green Tiger courgette plants off Delftland Organics. It kind of came, you couldn't buy the courgette separately, it came as a kind of a bundle, and the Sunshine squash was in that. And we've eaten one of them so far and it was utterly delicious. I was really impressed. And the mashed potato squash, I just saw the packet of seed and I really fancied it. We haven't eaten any of them yet, so I can't give you a verdict on flavour, but I'll let you know as soon as we've had a go with them. I was just wondering what Mum's doing, but I present you classic allotment drama, dropping the secateurs into the wood pile so that they fall all the way to the bottom and you have to go fishing. Classic.
Yay! Another pair of snips we've got now. These ones don't close, but...
Okay, let's grab some Achocha. This one plant that survived the slugs, we had 6 at the beginning, but only this one actually survived. And they are so prolific. What a great plant the Achocha is, seriously.
The other big ones? Yep. Some quite good sized ones on there. There are.
There's still some good ones coming too.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Yep. Back into the quite a lot of stuff there.
Yep, more beans. These are actually runner beans, and obviously you would normally eat runner beans fresh, but we were completely inundated with beans this year, as I think most people were. And so we ended up leaving quite a lot of these to just dry on the plants. Because they're a white runner bean, they cook really nicely from dried, so we'll be using half of these for just cooking in soups and stews over winter, and we'll be saving the other half to sow next year. The pods were really stringless and delicious and just a really nice variety, so we're quite happy to stick with this one and go again with it next year. I've got to admit, I don't think I really appreciated how much the variety of a runner bean kind of makes a difference. I mean, runner beans I always think of as quite generic, you know, and the last couple of years I realised that actually no, that's not the case. We always used to grow the same runner bean every year, and it was long and stringless and delicious. And then a couple of years ago we just bought new seed and tried a couple of varieties. One of them was Benchmark, I remember, and they were practically inedible. They were just really, really unpleasant. So having found a good one again, we'll stick with. Well, a nice bit of picking done. It's actually getting dark. Like, I don't know what it is about, about the seasons and how every change of season and everything that happens every single year just comes as a surprise every time. It's what, 3:30 or like 3:45. It's pretty gloomy. I don't remember this happening for the last however many years I've been alive. I was just thinking it's getting, I was just looking up there, the pear tree and things, and everything's looking really autumnal, and it's really like definitely feeling like the end of the year now. And I was thinking when things come to an end, it is just being a person who grows stuff, grows vegetables, grows crops, grows that kind of thing, flowers that come out in different seasons. It is just living in a constant state of being excited about the next thing. Hang on, there's an aeroplane coming. I'm going to go in the shed. It is just constantly being excited about the next thing. And yeah, that seems to be like the definition of being a gardener to me. Because as things are closing down for the winter, I'm looking around and everything's kind of shutting down. It doesn't feel sad, it feels exciting. Anyway, we're going to head home. Girlies, I'm gonna get the corn for you in a second. It's all right. I'm not gonna go without giving you the corn. Don't worry. They're panicking. They can see I'm packing things up, and they're like, right. I'm going to the pub. I'll see you tomorrow. Beautiful girlie. See you tomorrow, whirligigs. Girly. Pretty girl. Yeah, so pretty, Millie. You are. Morning. I just am looking out the window and look at that. Sorry, I've got spray paint all over my window, but look at that. It's frost. And on there, frost. Oh my goodness me. Morning, we are back. It's much earlier today than it was yesterday. It's about 9 o'clock. Sun is streaming in the shed door and everywhere else. In fact, it's just out. The sun's out. Is what I'm trying to say. It's sunny. Yeah, it's sunny, which means those things that I thought I was going to do yesterday, I'm going to do this morning. So that is the covered poly bed. I'm going to get into the poly house, polytunnel, whatever you want to call it, and see what's going on in there while we've got the sun doing its thing. Yeah, let's get out there because sunny, but it's bloody cold. Basil is gold. The basil is gold. Yes.
That's not done very well.
What?
That tall tree basil thing.
Well, it's basil, isn't it? It's going to go the same way as the rest of it. I've taken plenty of cuttings. They're all at home. Yeah. Red-stemmed chicory is looking pretty fine, as is the parsley. And the pink mizuna is sort of slowly picking up. But yeah, this is just a goner, but that's to be expected. Chard is coming along quite nice, and we've got quite a lot of peppers and bits and pieces to pick in here, which is rather pleasant for November. There's also tomatoes. A couple of these, unfortunately this is the Vince, and the one behind has gone rotten. I didn't see it, which is a bit of a shame, so we've lost one of them. But yeah, look at that. 0.5 last night it was. Ooh. Okay, bit of picking done. Everything apart from one of the tomato plants can come out, so that's 3 more can come out, give us a bit more space around the back. The peppers I'm going to leave, apart from 2 of them that aren't going to do anything. They're kind of totally over, there's nothing coming on them. But the other ones still do have some, so I'm going to leave them in. The basil has to come out because it's collapso, and 2 of the aubergine, 2 out of 3 aubergines are just done. So I'm going to take them out, so we should have a bit more clear space. And then I'm going to go and get some stuff from the cold frame and we'll get it in here. Ooh, bonus find. I didn't know I had any spring onions in here. And honestly, tell me a person who doesn't love a surprise spring onion. Right, let's go get some things.
Hi, girls. Did I nearly knock you off? Sorry.
Okay, cold frame.
Ooh, coat off, yes. It's a wonderful time to be up here. It's beautiful, isn't it? You know, you clip this,
Yeah.
to put, I can't get the handle to hold down anymore. Get out, so.
So we've still got 2 courgettes in this covered bed, which obviously won't be there for the whole winter. We've got some lettuces that are coming on really nicely. The 2 rows of lamb's lettuce and Iranian cress that I sowed in the middle here came up and were promptly completely eaten off by persons unknown. So I don't know what's happened to that. I think it's gone. We got a little bit of rocket that's recovering in the corner here. But basically, I'm going to plant this all out. I'm going to plant over the area where I sowed the lamb's lettuce, because if it hadn't come up yet, I would just leave it. But because I've seen it come up and disappear, I know basically nothing's going to happen now. I know also that I probably should take out the courgettes, but they're still producing. And I'm really loath to do that. All the ones that were outside or like not in this covered area are completely gone. But these ones have still got courgettes on them and they're still coming, even though I think obviously they're going to have a pollination problem under the plastic. But for the time being, they're still producing and I can't bring myself to take them out. So they are staying. Mum's just chopping them back a bit to kind of reduce the amount of space they're taking up. And I'm going to plant all the way around them. I've got a whole load of different bits and pieces to put between here and the polytunnel. And it's a bit of potluck what's going in which, really. They've got quite similar characteristics. They're both going to be quite humid, as opposed to the greenhouse, like I've said before, is a much drier environment. But these two are going to be quite similar, so I'm just going to kind of spread what I've got between both areas. The difference with this one is that things are much more easily harvestable in the actual like walk-in polytunnel, because you just open the door, you walk in and you do what you want. Whereas this one, you have to kind of uncover the whole lot and kind of reach in and get there. So one of the things that I'm definitely going to be putting in this bed, as opposed to the raised beds in the polytunnel, is the Chimida Rapa, because I'm not expecting to be picking that until early spring. And it's not something that you're picking a little and often of. It's not like something for salads or cut and come again. It's really just like, it's a crop you take, and we can take the lid off, harvest a whole lot of it, cover it back up again, and then just let it regrow. So that one's definitely going in here. So I'll start with that. I've never grown it this way before, by starting it off in a seed tray like this. Normally I would just direct sow it, but although I had one really good crop of it about late August, maybe early September, my next 2 successional sowings literally they came up a bit like the lamb's lettuce that was in this bed. It came up and then it was just eaten off immediately. So I decided I would try and get it past that stage by starting it in a seed tray. I'm not entirely sure how this is going to work, but I'm hoping it's going to be fine, basically. I can't see that it's going to be really different. I'm not pricking these out, so I'm not disturbing their roots too much. They're kind of coming out in big chunks that are a little bit too densely packed, to be honest. But as they grow up, I will pinch some out. I'll see if I can transplant some, but I'm expecting just to pinch them out and give them a little bit more space as they grow. I always remember, like, I pick these out, we've got loads of you've just got a whole box full of kind of miscellaneous, sorry, I'm just going to turn you up a bit, whole box of miscellaneous bits and pieces, and then this is something that I think we've bought something in at some stage anyway, and I think, oh, that's a good one, I'll use that. It's not. They just cut your fingers. There's not enough hole in the bottom for you to actually get the plants out. And then when you crush them to get them out, it pinches the plant's roots. So you end up ripping half the roots off. It's not ideal. This one is going to go in the recycling. Well, I'd like to say the recycling. I think it's probably going to go into the bin. I don't think they can be recycled. It's a real shame. It's a number 6 plastic. I think we can only do number 5s around here. Anyway, I'm also going to get a row of chicory in here, and I'm going to get a row of chicory. What's the other thing? Chicory? I'm going to put in a row of chicory and some rocket, and also chard to go in. I've got some chard in the polyhouse already. But last year it did so well in the polytunnel. I'm gonna, in the makeshift tunnel, I'm gonna do some of that again.
Right, there you go. It's
Okay.
empty.
Righty ho, Cima de Rapa, leaf chicory, chard and rocket, all in. These are the courgettes. Oh, yeah, straight into the leaf. These are the courgettes coming along. Like, I can't bring myself to take them out, so they're going to stay in here. Now we just tuck them away cozy. Okay, we're losing the sun on the polytunnel, so I'm going to try and get the stuff planted in here while there's still a little bit of sun, so I can get the door closed and it can store its heat. Yeah, so what have I got? I've got Pak Choi and turnips. I've got two types of mustard greens, so green wave and dragon's tongue, and I've also got the leftover chicory that I didn't get into the covered bed. I've got some red chicory growing in here already, but I haven't done the green, so I'm going to put that in. And I also have a load of spring onions. So spring onions really didn't do very well in here last year. I don't know why, but I've got some ready to go in the greenhouse, so we're going to do both and see whether it was just an anomaly one year or whether they really just don't like growing in here. So yeah, let's get planting before the sun disappears. Gimbal's run out of battery and I don't have my other phone stand with me, so I'm afraid we're back to interesting angles. But this is all quite close to the ground, so it should be okay. Let's get the Pak Choi in. Matt, is that any good? Okay, well that's what we're going with. I've got two different varieties of Pak Choi. I have got a green one, which is called Yu Choi, and then I have a red one. I don't know if you remember, I grew the red one really early in the year, so like before it got warm, and it was spectacular. God, it was beautiful. It was like, yeah, it looked almost like metallic purple, like 90s car spray paint. Do you remember that stuff? Yeah, so it looked like that. So I'm really looking forward to getting these. Obviously Pak Choi and a lot of those oriental vegetables really appreciate the weather being a bit cooler, so I'm hoping they're going to do really well in here. Next up is the green chicory. So I've got quite a lot of these. Chicory was a new one. This leaf chicory was a new one for me last year. I'd never grown it before, and I just thought it was an absolute joy. So I've got possibly too much of it growing this year, but never mind. Spring onions, this is my experimental crop. I'll have some in the greenhouse as well, like I said. This is a mixture of Pompeii, which is a white one, and my favourite Lilia, which is purple. And then again, two varieties of mustard greens. I seem to be going for lots of dual varieties here. The mustard greens are Green Wave, which is a plain green one, and Dragon's Tongue, which has got magnificent purple veining. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen me cooing and ahhing over how beautiful the leaves were the other day, because they're gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And then the last of the spring onions. I mean, I said they didn't do very well. Obviously that one that I found earlier today snuck through and had a great time. And then in this end corner, which is kind of closest to the door, I'm going to put a load of really broadleaf rocket in. This has been sown really, really densely, and I'm not spreading it out, even though obviously rocket plants can actually get quite big in their own right. But I'm going to be using this like just chop the whole lot down to kind of 1 inch above the ground and let it regrow and chop it again. So it doesn't really matter if it's too densely planted, and it being near the door means pretty handy in the middle of winter, just reaching in and chopping a whole lot off. So yeah, hopefully this selection will keep us going. We've got rocket, parsley, mustard greens, chicory, spring onions. What else have we got? Pak Choi, chard. Yeah, oh, I forgot the turnips. We will have turnips as well. Yeah, not bad.
Yep. Are you there? Yep, got that. The one down there? No. That's a nice one. Oops. Very colourful, green and yellow.
You don't like the camera, do you, Florence? No. Look at this greedy mug. Oi! Greedy greed! See you tomorrow, girlies. See you tomorrow. Look at this piece of pure joy we've got outside the chicken house. This is a pineapple salvia that we rescued from home. I didn't think it was going to do anything, but it's beautiful, isn't it, girls? And actually, this is the dragon's tongue mustard that I was talking about on Instagram. How gorgeous is that? Oh, it's beautiful. And it's delicious. So what more could one want, really? Actually, I might take some of that home with me. I think that is, yeah, I'll take some of that with us. That's lovely. So I'm growing this one and the green wave. So this is the dragon's tongue, and I'm growing the green wave this year. I don't know what the green wave's like. I've not done that one before, but this one, really very little taste when it's raw like this. Like, I thought mustard greens were meant to have like a really strong mustardy sort of flavour. This doesn't so much, or I haven't found that it does. But when it's cooked, that's when it really comes into its own. So I've just been having it with spaghetti or like in a risotto or something, and absolutely fantastic. Well, we're going to head home after I have gathered up some of this, so I will see you back there. See you shortly. It's good to be home. Back to a proper week on the allotment. Although I have to say, I had the most fantastic time in Northern Ireland, and I'm really looking forward to going back. I'm going to be going back, like I said, I think I said in the video, I'm going to be going back in spring. So looking forward to it. I thought it was beautiful. It's such a shame I didn't kind of get to spend more time over there, but, and thank you for the feedback on the away vlog. It's something I'd like to be able to include a bit more of. I said this when I went to visit Alex. Actually, I'm seeing Alex tomorrow. He is coming up to London, so I'm going to have a pint with him. But yeah, so including kind of a bit more going around, doing things, visiting other people's plots, because I love visiting other people's plots and having a good nose around. So hopefully there's going to be a bit more of that in the future when everything's mobile. talking about the touring and the going around and the, you know, action station stuff. Looks like I'm on my way to getting my feet sorted now. It got delayed and delayed and delayed, which was annoying because it meant that I could have come back from Ireland later than I did, but never mind. Never mind. I had the first injection yesterday, so yeah, I'm on my way. Hopefully, I think we're aiming for about mid-January to see the results. So yeah, start of next year, full on mobile. I'm going to be like a gazelle, absolute gazelle. Yeah, I think I'm more of an otter than a gazelle, but still, you know. Anyway, so this week, getting back to this week, yeah, I was really pleased to still be picking things from the Polytunnel and the greenhouse. So last year we were picking chillies in mid-November, but this year I just sort of wasn't expecting it because we hadn't had any great huge flush of chillies or peppers or anything like that. I was thinking that it would probably peter out much sooner too, so that's a really nice surprise. And same with the peppers. I don't think they're going to be going for much longer. The nights have got really cold. We had a -1 night the other day, so whew, yeah, that's really cold for November for here. But then the days are getting warmer again now, so we're back up to like 14. So yeah, it's flip-flopping a bit at the moment. But the pumpkins. So I was talking in the vlog about, obviously you saw me harvest the Marina, Chioggia, and look at the butternuts and the crown prince. But the other two that I was talking about are, this is the little sunshine, you know, the one that I wasn't planning, well, neither of these I was planning to grow, but this one, tiny little thing. I think they're probably meant to be slightly bigger than this, but the three that we got were all this sort of size and absolutely delicious. It's not, it's a very similar colour to the Chicory, you know, that really, really rich orange colour, and the flesh is really orange too. But obviously it's not an onion squash shape. But yeah, utterly delicious. So we've only got one left of these, which is a bit of a shame. But the mashed potato squash, how lovely is this looking thing? Looks like a sort of zeppelin or something. I can imagine it made out of aluminium. But yeah, gorgeous. Haven't tried these ones yet, but we've got 3 of these to try. And supposedly they are a type of squash you just chop in half, scoop out the seeds and then bake whole. And then the texture of the flesh is very much like mashed potato. Hence, it's called the mashed potato squash. There's another one very similar called a baked potato squash, I believe. But yeah, not a disastrous year for winter squash, which is nice. Last year we had a terrible year for them, so I'm pretty chuffed with these. On that note, what are we doing next week? What are we doing next week? I've got quite a lot of work to do in the greenhouse. Like I was saying, I'm splitting a lot of those seedlings, the winter stuff, between the greenhouse and the polytunnel and all that. Well, mainly the one that's going to be grown in the greenhouse is I'm going to grow all the lettuces in there because they don't rot off so easily. So Johanna has given me a huge like polystyrene thing. I think they got some fish delivered in it, or it's what the fish gets delivered in for their Ripley. You remember the garden centre that she works in? The Ripley farm shop that they've got there. I think when they get the fish delivered, it comes in these big polystyrene boxes. And yeah, so she's given me one of those, and I'm going to turn it into like a little lettuce pot thing for the greenhouse, because one of the problems we have in the greenhouse is when you're growing things in pots and it's really cold and damp and miserable, I don't tend to water things enough. It's my problem. Like I don't, because it's cold, I seem to not water. I don't know why I've got this connection, because you can be cold and dry. But yeah, so I'm going to try that. I'm going to pop that up next week. Oh, on the subject of Ripley Nurseries, Johanna has started an Instagram account for the Ripley Nurseries. So I'll put, if you are on Instagram, I'll put a link to it underneath, because yeah, she's just like putting new stuff that's in there. And if you like looking at pictures of plants and things, that's obviously a good thing. So I'll stick that underneath. So yeah, greenhouse, I'm going to get the bubble wrap in. Do you remember last year I bubble wrapped the inside of the greenhouse with those little clips? Worked an absolute treat. I'll put a link to the clips that I used underneath here in case you're planning to be doing the same thing next week. Previous years I've tried all sorts of methods of attaching the bubble wrap, and it's just been such a pain, and they worked amazingly. So if you've been with me for more than a year, you'll remember them. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing next week, having a bit of a clean because the greenhouse is filthy. Yeah, it's all that kind of stuff really, like proper winter setting now. Yeah, so I think that's about all I've got to say this week, chaps. Other than a massive thank you for coming away with me and a massive thank you for coming back with me. And yeah, so basically, just cheers, chaps. I hope you have a wonderful week and are getting all the bits and pieces. I hope you've got the sunshine that we've got actually. We've had a couple of really stunning days here, like winter sunshine or like this kind of like autumn sunshine. Something else, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, I'm going to leave you to it now. Have a wonderful week. Yeah, I will see you this time next week back here. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it.
They are roasted. Hang on, and they're going to roast in the pots.